So the season finale of Hazbin Hotel recently aired, and dare I say, this might have been one of the perfect send-offs for a show's first season. Everything about this action-packed finale felt high stakes and answered so many questions that fans have been asking all season. And while so many questions got answered, this finale also opened the door to so many new conspiracies and theories. So let's take a look at not only the finale, but also what we can look forward to from season 2. Episode 7 starts off with the main cast just being vaguely interested in the reveal that Vaggy's a fallen angel. And if I'm being honest, this is something that I didn't really like from these last couple of episodes. I feel like out of all the characters, Vaggy could have had one of the most interesting plot points revolving around her being a fallen angel, and this could have led to some really interesting interactions between her and the rest of the characters at the hotel. We could have really got to see them lose trust in her as she took part in the very thing that they've been trying to stop all season. But the way this episode treats it, outside of Charlie, nobody actually really cares that she used to be a fallen angel. Fast forward later in the episode, we see that Charlie's in bed breaking down not only at the fact that Vaggy's been lying to her all this time, but also at the fact that she feels like she's let everybody at the hotel down, dooming them all to their deaths at the hands of the angels. She's then joined by Alistair, who's just loving the despair, but he then reveals that he knows something that could save the hotel and give Charlie a fighting chance.
Those big scary angels are not quite as indestructible as they seem.
What are you talking about?
Just that you and your little band of misfits might stand more of a chance than you think.
But there's only one catch. Alistair wants to make a deal in exchange for the information that he knows. And I know this scene shocked a lot of people, but I actually really enjoyed it. I think because how he joined the hotel was only shown in the pilot and not in episode 1, people forget Alistair is not at the hotel just to help. He is and has always been there for his own ulterior motives. And even though he's been a very crucial part of running the hotel, we might not know what it is, but Alistair's been cooking up a plan in the background since day 1. After making the deal with Alistair, Charlie learns that the angels can be killed, and she assigns Vaggy to seek out Camilla Carmine to learn how to do it. And it's during this interaction that we see that Charlie still holds a lot of resentment towards Vaggy for keeping her secret throughout the years. Alistair then takes Charlie to seek out one of his acquaintances, and we then get a really interesting scene of Vaggy telling the rest of the hotel members that they don't have to fight the angels if they don't want to.
I'm gonna go learn how we can fight back, but when I come home, well, I'll understand if none of you are here.
Well, this is awkward.
We then cut to Alistair taking Charlie to a place called Cannibal Town to meet with his old friend Rosie, and very quickly Rosie takes a liking into Charlie. Charlie then requests Rosie's aid in fighting off the angels in the upcoming extermination, and Rosie says because she likes Charlie and Alistair's never did her wrong, she'll aid Charlie in any way that she can. Switching over again in the episode, we see that Vaggy's outside the headquarters of Camilla Carmine, and after screaming to expose her secret out loud, she's finally let inside the building. Vaggy then tries her best to get Carmine to aid them and teach them how to defeat angels, but she isn't going for any of this. And it's only after weighing her options that she finally budges. We then switch back over to Cannibal Town and see Rosie talking to Charlie. She explains to Charlie that she will do anything in her power to help her since she's a client, but she can't just make the people of Cannibal Town follow Charlie into battle, and says that if Charlie wants an army, she's going to have to win the people over. And let's just say this does not go well the first time around.
Fuck you, you old bitch! Okay, we'll be back after a brief intermission.
We then cut back to Vaggy training with Carmine, and I'm not gonna lie, this scene gave me one of my favorite interactions this episode, of Carmine pointing out just how obvious it was that Vaggy was an exorcist angel.
You have a giant X over your eye and wield an angelic spear. It's not rocket science.
But Carmine then goes on to explain that angels fight as if they can't be killed. They fight with no sense of danger or to protect anything, and this is the weakness that the main crew will have to capitalize on. Besides this, the only thing that the crew is gonna need is angelic weapons. We then transition into one of the best songs this season, Out for Love, which really fits with the theme of while exorcist angels fight for nothing but killing, Vaggy now fights for a purpose to protect something, that being Charlie, showing that she's truly changed since her days as an exorcist. We then cut back to Cannibal Town, seeing that Rosie's talking to Charlie one-on-one to try to clear her head, and it's in this interaction that we see that Charlie's still caught up on the fact that Vaggy hid the fact that she was an angel, questioning if Vaggy lied to her about that. Was she lying about more stuff throughout their entire relationship?
Oh no, that's a horrible thing to think. Do I think that? Yes. No. Kinda?
But Rosie comes in to tell Charlie that people make mistakes, and sometimes acknowledging our mistakes are the hardest things to do when they hurt the people closest to us. And it's through Rosie's words that her and Charlie have a beautiful moment as she strengthens Charlie's beliefs in Vaggy.
Sure, she's flawed, but hey, who down here isn't? If there's anything I've learned, it's that words are cheap, but actions, they speak the truth.
And thanks to Rosie, Charlie is able to get into the right headspace to rally the people of Cannibal Town into song and prepare to fight the Angels. After both accomplishing their goals, Charlie and Vaggie then meet up back at the hotel and make up. And while I feel like this plot point could have been explored more, for the time that they spent on it, I feel like this was a nice little arc for both of their characters. We then see that as the two are walking into the hotel, they are both shocked to see that while they've been gone, Husk, Angel, Sir Pinchus, and the rest of the hotel members have been preparing the hotel all day to go to war with the Angels.
Look who decided to show up. We thought we were fighting by ourselves.
You're still here.
And this is actually one of my favorite moments this episode, because it just goes to show the growth that these characters have had since episode 1, with many of them looking at the hotel as a joke and hating the people inside of it. Then we fast forward to this episode and they're given an out but decide to stay and risk their lives to protect the very same hotel as well as the people inside of it. And it's just a really good way to end off the episode to set up the finale. Moving on to episode 8, it's one day before the extermination and we see that our main cast is prepping to go into battle. And I just found it hilarious that we were getting this POV of Vox giving his commentary on the whole situation. He was literally the highlight of this episode. We then move towards Charlie standing in front of her entire army of cannibals, hotel members, and some other familiar faces. And she gives one last speech to tell them that they will not only survive the extermination tomorrow, but they will win. But even though she's saying this, it's very clear that she's nervous and uncertain on how true the words coming out her mouth really are. We then move towards the main cast having one last big celebration before their upcoming battle. And we get to see some pretty cool interactions like Sir Pinchus and Cherry, Angel and Husk, and surprising enough, even Alistair and Nifty.
I dub thee King Roach.
Oh, to understand your twisted little mind.
And I really like these moments because it just goes to show how far these characters have grown from being individuals when they first showed up to the hotel to actually being a part of something. We then shift our focus towards Charlie, who's getting emotional thinking about the outcome of the battle, but she's then reassured by Vaggie that everything will be fine and they will survive. Fast forward in the episode again and we see that Adam's standing outside the gates of heaven with his exorcist army preparing to invade hell. But not only is he getting ready to seek his army straight at the hotel, he's also put a bounty out on Vaggie's head. We then see that the battle has finally begun, with angels flying down out of a portal in the sky and the sinners manning their stations. But before the angels can really do anything, Alistair pulls up and opens a gigantic force field around the hotel, trapping the few angels that made it close to the hotel on the inside of it, as well as killing many angels on the outside of it. And it's after doing this that our main cast actually seems like they have a shot of winning, or at least that was until Adam pulls up and destroys the barrier with one punch. And it's after this that we see Adam fly towards Alistair and we get one of the most hype showdowns this entire season.
Adam! First man, next to die.
And when I tell y'all, this moment had me on the edge of my seat because we hadn't got a real fight scene like this all season. On top of that, Alistair is my favorite character in the whole show, so I was really hyped to see what he could actually do against another higher power being. And even though Adam's immortal and Alistair's a mortal soul, he was actually hanging with Adam, at least until Adam broke his staff and landed a clean blow. Luckily though, Alistair was able to escape before Adam could do any more damage. And let me just say again, Vox's commentary throughout this entire fight had me joked out. Moving back to the battlefield, we see that the fight between our main cast and the angels is pretty even, and the only difference maker is Adam. As long as he's there, our main cast have no shot of actually winning this fight. But in the most surprising turn of events, we see Sir Pinchus realize the same thing. And after confessing his love to Cherry like the Chad he is, we see him board his ship with all of his Eggmen, setting his sights straight towards Adam with his death beam. Unfortunately, Adam takes him out like nothing. And as after this, Charlie and Vaggie take the fight straight towards Adam to avenge Pinchus. But the two are separated and we see two different fights going on, one between Lute and Vaggie and the other one between Adam and Charlie. And just as everything's starting to look bad for our main cast and it seems as though the angels are gonna win, we get the unexpected return of Lucifer coming to even the odds. And after he shows up, him and Charlie make quick work of Adam, with Charlie convincing her dad to spare him. But after being spared, Adam goes on a rant about how he's the first man and how everybody in hell should be worshiping him. And in an even more surprising turn of events, we see Nifty take out Adam. After Adam is taken out, Lucifer orders all the executioner angels to return back to heaven. And with this, the battle is officially over. We then get a song called Finale that just kind of wraps up the story of our main cast for this season, as we see them rebuild the hotel as well as build the memorial for Sir Pinchas because of his sacrifice. But this song wasn't just a nice little way to wrap up the season, it also gave us a lot of hints into things that we can see into season 2. For one, when Vox is singing about how the V's are gonna take over hell and how Alistair's missing, we see him stab a picture of Alistair. But if you look close at the picture, you see half of it's ripped off. And if you really look closely towards the ripped half, you see that it looks like a picture of Alistair and Vox. Now we know since episode 2 that Vox and Alistair have some type of past, but ever since I looked at the lyrics of Stayed Gone, the song that Vox sings in that episode, I've always had the theory that Alistair and Vox weren't always enemies. At one point in time, they were friends. Because in the song, Vox sings, "While he hid in radio, we pivoted to video." Alistair also said in that song that Vox asked him to join the V's and he declined, and that's the reason why they fell out. I really think in season 2 we'll get to see that Vox and Alistair used to be friends, but because Alistair chose to stay on his own path with his own media, Vox felt like he betrayed him. And speaking of Alistair, in the song finale, we also get major information about him. In episode 5, it was revealed to us that Alistair himself also is on a leash as he sold his soul making a deal with somebody that hasn't been revealed to us yet. We also learned that his true intentions are to find a way out of his deal so that he'll have the power to actually run everything. And this makes perfect sense why in episode 7 he not only made a deal with Charlie to get a favor out of her, but also in the song Ready for This, when speaking about Charlie, he said she's filled with potential that I could guide. So I think Alistair views Charlie as not only as a way for him to get out of his deal, but also as a way for him to rise higher in power. Now moving away from the song finale, let's take a look at the big reveal at the end of episode 8. We see Lute walking towards a lady on a beach, and she confirms that Adam is dead and she's in charge now, taking his spot. It's then revealed that the lady she's talking to is Lilith, Charlie's mom that's been missing for the past 7 years. And I can't even lie to y'all, when this was revealed, I felt like a genius because I had been speculating this ever since episode 1, ever since the pilot even. But Lute tells Lilith that now that Adam's dead, her deal with him is up, and if she wants to stay in heaven, she's going to have to stop Charlie from doing what she's doing. And this just opens so many new questions. One, why does no one know that Lilith's in heaven? On top of that, what type of deal does she even make with Adam? And while I always felt like Lilith was in heaven, I feel like Alistair might be one of the few characters that knew. If you remember, Lilith was confirmed gone for 7 years by Charlie in both episode 1 and the pilot. 7 years was also the same amount of time that it had been said that Alistair was gone from hell. And I just feel like 7 years is too specific of a time frame to mention for two different characters without them being connected in some way. But with this reveal, I would not be surprised if Lilith is the main antagonist of this series going forward. Now let's take a look at the final bombshell dropped at the end of episode 8. After the big battle, we see a shot of Emily and Sarah in heaven when all of a sudden a figure gets teleported in front of them. And we see that this figure is none other than Sir Pinchas in a new heavenly design. And this moment seemingly confirmed two things. Number one, Charlie's plan does work. The hotel is the key to redeeming souls and sending them to heaven. Number two, if you look at the reactions of both Emily and Sarah, while Emily's face is full of joy, it looks like Sarah is almost horrified. And when you look back at her behavior during the trial, when she observed Angel Dust and saw that Angel obviously fit the role of someone who could be a redeemed soul, but still denied Charlie's plans with the hotel, her reaction when seeing Sir Pinchas being sent to heaven leads me to believe that she's been hiding a secret. I think she knew that souls could be redeemed and sent to heaven, which makes even more sense why they're trying to send Lilith to stop Charlie. But that's just my crazy little theory. But all in all, I think the season finale for Hazbin Hotel was pretty great. For all the criticisms that I have about the show when it comes to pacing and really fleshing out characters, I think for what they had and what they worked with, the season finale wrapped things up pretty smoothly and set up a lot of nice plot points for season 2. And while I don't think season 1 was the best in every aspect, I think it was a really fun ride to keep up with week to week. And I definitely think Hazbin Hotel is a fun watch to recommend to most people. So fun even that I really can't wait for season 2. And now that we know that season 2 won't be that far away, I really can't wait. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and help push out the video to more people. And make sure to follow me on my socials where I talk about everything from anime to animated shows just like Hazbin Hotel. And until then, it's been your boy CornXV, and I'm off this.
Up in this 10 years old, turn on buzz master like coke. Pull up in Rovers, it's over. Bitch, I'm cheese Sosa, this coke. Llama, it can't want no hoes. Bottle, it can't let me pour. High as fun, just like a float. Wanna glow up, let me show you. V long thugs. I don't need